Namaste everyone. In today's video, I wanted to share with you a little bit of knowledge I received from watching a video on Nir Ale. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry if I am. But he really focused on the internal distractions that we have, the internal triggers that brings distractions for us. Last week, I focused more on the external part, but I wanted to share some of the internal triggers that we have basically, and how we can manage it to avoid that type of distractions. It's a little bit related to the external, so same things sometimes might be listed on this video as well, but the focus is on the internal triggers. My name is Priya. I'm very passionate about sharing positivity and empowering others to live their life to their fullest. We're all creators. We have the capability to create our life the way we want. So let's make it beautiful together. So let's dive in. So today's topic is about the triggers that, the internal triggers that we have that brings distraction. So basically what the internal triggers does is basically it's the uncomfortable state of mind that we have regarding an emotions, uncomfortable emotions of state of mind, where we feel like we want to avoid, and therefore we find ourselves distracted to something. And so what Nir basically says is that he has done like a 5-year research on this and really studied this, and he's basically saying is that even though most of us blame technologies as our number one distractions, even if we didn't have those, we'll still be distracted. Let's say you shut your phone down, you put all your smartphones away, and you're totally internet free. You'll still, even if you had to do something, you'll still find something, because that's the time you would be like, oh, let me take my trash out, or that's the time you'll be like, and I have done this personally where I'm like, I need to focus on something, but I'll be like, oh, I really want to clean my closet, out of the blue, because usually I wouldn't, but out of the blue, because I want to do something else, I would just force myself to want to do something else. And it's not that I'm forcing, but it naturally, your mind goes to somewhere else. So I have done that where I'm like, that's the day I plan to clean my closet, and I know I have to write a paper or something because I'm just avoiding it, or it's doing some sort of bringing some sort of emotions that I want to avoid. So that's what Nir talks about, and he talks about some of the things that we can do to avoid those type of distractions. So the first one is just like the external, organize yourself, plan your day. And he specifically says not just plan your day with the to-do list, but also put some thoughts into like how much time you need in order to do that task. So let's say in your to-do list, you say you need to do some grocery shopping, you need to do some cooking. I'm just making this as an example. Then allocate yourself. Okay, I need 1 hour for grocery shopping. I need 2 hours for cooking. Whatever it is, whatever meal prep you need to do. Make sure you put that in so you know how much time you need in your day to do those specific tasks. So I really like the wording he says, if you don't plan your day, then someone else will plan it for you. And that is very true. There are days when I just wake up and I'm free, but then I just kind of wander around and do things, and then people distract you, and even social media, and then they're consuming your time. They're planning your day basically. So make sure you plan your day and you're not getting consumed into other things. So that's number one. Number two is basically similar to the external one, but make sure you set your social media time. It's important to feel connected. It's important to feel that you're aware of what's happening, to watch the news or whatever it is, but or to talk to people, to feel connected. But at the same time, you don't want to get distracted throughout the day. So lately I've been setting some time. Okay, morning I'll spend this much time on social media, and then evening I'll spend this much time. And throughout the day, if I don't have the time, then I'll only do it once. Even WhatsApp messages, sometimes I could only check my messages once a day. And sometimes I do it twice a day. But if I used to have the bad habit of checking it throughout the day, every time it pops, and then it basically consumes your day, and you're not productive anymore. The internal triggers that usually happens with the social media is like, sometimes you feel lonely and then you want to feel connected to people, then you go on Facebook or whatever other social media apps and all that. But or if you feel bored, then you start googling stuff, and or uncertain, you feel uncertain, you start googling stuff. If you're feeling bored, then you start looking at news and stuff like that. So all these internal triggers kind of causes us to pick up that smartphone and check for these social media. So instead of just randomly doing it and falling for those triggers, just set a time for yourself where you're like, okay, I'll do it at this time from 10 to 11 or 10 to 10:30, whatever time you want, and that's it. And then you don't look at your social media at all. So that's one aspect of it. Number 3 is basically really looking at what's giving that urge, because anytime you have these triggers, you're basically trying to avoid some sort of emotions. And if you're always having this, then maybe it's time to deal with it. So just like when people have some sort of craving, it's like then you reflect on why you're craving it. It's the same thing with these things as well. So if you're feeling like you want to distract yourself from doing what you want to do, then really focus on why you feel that way and then deal with that. And sometimes it doesn't, you don't get an answer within like the one ask of why. Sometimes it takes you throughout, a few weeks, few months even, and sometimes even longer, for you to actually dive into the deeper level of like what's triggering you. And once you deal with that, maybe it's easier to focus on what you want. Maybe you're not doing something that you really like to do, and maybe that's what it is. But whatever it is, really focus on, reflect on it, and dive deep into why you want to distract yourself. So that's basically allowing yourself to kind of get distracted, but at the same time know that there is a reason. There's like a certain emotions that is triggering that you keep distracting yourself. Because as I mentioned earlier, it's not always about the social media and stuff like that. The other one is liminal moments. So the way Nair basically explained this is basically liminal moments are when you're transitioning from one event to the other. And when you're transitioning from one event to the other, so let's say basically if let's say you're in a meeting, this was one of the examples he mentioned. You're in a meeting and you're coming out to go to your office. So you're coming from one activity and going into your office to see your next activity. Between that, the transitioning period, then you pick up your phone and start checking your email. And then you get distracted through your email, that even when you get to your office, you're still looking at your email, because then you're not doing the activity you wanted to do. You got distracted with your email. So instead of doing that, make sure you set time for the email, and make sure you have that time allocated just specifically for that, so you don't get distracted. So be aware of the liminal moments, and be aware of it, so you can be careful and not fall into it. And it's okay to check it quickly, but you can't do the responding if you need to do something else, if you have something more important to do right after you get to your office. And this is just an example, but it happens in a lot of our lives, in our daily lives, in our personal lives as well, when we do one thing and we get distracted even before we get to the other one, and then we forget about this second activity, and then sometimes we never even get it done. So be aware of it. The last point is to remember that you are very powerful. We are a powerful being. We are a being of love, being of divine being. So we need to know that we are powerful. So don't let other things consume you. You have control. When you believe at 100% that you have control, you don't need to be distracted. You can actually control it, because sometimes when you have that belief system, it helps you to have more control as well. I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please click the like button. Please subscribe if you're new to my channel, and click the notification button because I'm very determined to creating weekly videos for you guys to empower you to live the best version of you. Until then, namaste.